wrote Overwhelmed and Over It, Embrace Your Power to Stay Centered and Sustained in a Chaotic World. Because what I was finding is that so many of the women that I know and work with were overwhelmed and burned out and tired and exhausted. And no matter how much we worked, how much harder we tried, how much more we gave, it just never felt like there was enough time, enough money, enough of us. And after 60 plus years of being in the workforce, I thought something's wrong here. If we haven't figured it out, work-life balance and do be and have it all, like the equations we're running must be flawed. So I've, over the last 10 years, researched what is it that keeps us from actually being able to create sustainable lives in which we can show up in the world and achieve what we desire, take care of those we love, make a difference, and breathe and be sustained ourselves. And what I found was pretty shocking. There are some deep systemic reasons why we can't get out of this burnout cycle. And there are some deep ingrained imprints within ourselves that are running us like a computer's operating system that we can't see. And the thing is, you can't change what you can't see. And so Overwhelmed and Over It is a way to bring self-awareness to what we can't see and systemic awareness to what we can't see so we can actually make self-empowered changes in the choices we make day to day and in the big choices about how we design our lives, our organizations, our teams, our goals, and our society. I've been writing Overwhelmed and Over It for over 3 years. And when the pandemic hit, it was like a wake up for myself and a wake up for many of us to actually embrace the things that I've been writing in here for years. Is that we have the power, you and me have the power to reimagine and redesign the way we work. But we've been moving so fast and just trying to keep up, assimilating into systems that have never had our best interests at heart. They weren't designed by women. They weren't designed with wholeness and interconnectedness and wellness at the center. And so we stand at this time. This is the perfect time to step into your leadership, for each of us to step into our leadership. And leadership, when I mean that from the feminine perspective, it's not about a position or a title or doing more, for God's sakes. It's about embracing that you have the power to make change in this world and make change in your world and in those you love and lead by the choices you make in the everyday and how you design your life and how you lead and influence others. It's called harmonic defiance, and it's one of your most powerful superpowers. So one of the main program upgrades in Overwhelmed and Over It is releasing the program and imprint of trying to manage stress. Because why would you want to manage something that you don't even want? Trying to manage stress is like trying to manage a room of 2-year-olds. Eventually, there's going to be a meltdown. In this case, yours. And what we want to do is we actually want to release stress every day. Because otherwise, your stress builds up and builds up until there's so much stress, you have a blowout, you have a meltdown. And there are real ways to do it. Now, here's the thing. If you don't have actual practices and rituals in how you, what I call downshift your day, most of us kind of revert to self-sabotaging habits that numb us out and actually drain us versus sustain us. And so a lot of what Overwhelmed and Over It is about helping you create what I call a bookend. How you start the first hour, how you end the last hour of your day. And when you can get conscious about that, so much stress melts off naturally versus trying to release stress in ways that sabotage you. So one of the big reasons that women have such a problem with overwhelm and burnout is because we're like banks that only give withdrawals and don't take in enough deposits. Go ahead and put your hands out in front of you. Your left hand is your receiving hand, your right hand is your giving hand. And just go ahead and kind of operate like you might be operating. Over, give, I give, I give, I give, I give, I give. Now, I want you to go receive, give. Receive, give. This is how it's supposed to work. Receive, give. Most of us are giving, 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 and then trying to receive and fill in the hole. This creates what I call an overgiving imprint. And in the last 10 years, I've looked at what are the 13 kinds of ways we overgive. Because otherwise, if you don't have language for it, it's just so overwhelming itself to be like, where do I even start? And one of my superpowers is breaking down big concepts into ways that we can actually get really clear about how it's affecting you at a root level. So there are 13 kinds of overgiving, over caretaking, over promising, over connecting, over protecting. And when we can identify your specific kinds, it gives you awareness to start to see it in your life so that you can start to change the giving and receiving equation so it creates harmony instead of bankrupting you. So my hope with every woman who reads Overwhelmed and Over It is that you're able to have a deeper level of self-awareness about the imprints that are in here that are unconscious, that are driving you to overgive, overwork, overpromise, over, and work and live and relate in ways that do not sustain you. And that Overwhelmed and Over It gives you a path and practices, real practices, and an elevated level of perspective and wisdom that empowers you from the inside out to make different choices in your day-to-day, from how you wake up to how you go to sleep, to how when overwhelm shows up, you can re-find your center, to how you design your life so that it actually has sustainability at the core. And then from that place, then we can step forward and lead our families, our teams, our organizations in a new way. This is a support structure. This is wisdom. These are superpowers for us. And my hope is that you take them into your life and they elevate you and liberate you into a different way of being, living, working. And together we do create a world that actually has everyone's best interests at heart.